Okay, so for this part, what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little bit more order. And what I mean by order is that right now we have a lot of randomness going on, which is nice, and it provides us with interesting geometries and sizes and colors. But let's say you actually wanted this to do something. Let's say you wanted it to, um, in some ways, solve a problem or give you direction or respond to an environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a scenario like that. So I'm going to actually maximize Grasshopper a little bit more just to give me some more room to work. And we're going to keep everything that we have here, but we're going to actually um, borrow, um, let's see, we're going to borrow just this information here, and we're actually going to grab this information here, and we're going to, for the time being, get rid of or not utilize all of this information here, all these components. So I guess we could disconnect things, which would make things a little bit easier. So what I want you to do is I want you to right click on the group here and ungroup it. And this group can this group can actually stay the same because we're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to essentially disconnect some of these lines here. Okay, so what you want to do is you just want to hit Control and disconnect this information here, like that. Okay, and we also want to disconnect the radius. Okay, so now we just have, if I were to zoom in here, we just have one sphere again. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to move this kind of to the left here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a grid of circles, and this grid of circles is going to utilize the same colors, these random colors from down here, but we're going to create a point that acts as an attractor point throughout this grid of circles. And so that means that as you move this point around, all the radius of the circles that are closest to it are going to get smaller, and all the radius of the circles that are away or far away from it are going to get larger. So this could represent these circles responding to some sort of information or some context. So we're going to work backwards again from the point, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to start with a series. So you're going to go to Sets, Sequence, Series, and you're going to bring in a series, and then I want you to bring in let's see, a few sliders, number sliders. That's going to be the start. There's going to be 0 on that series. Double click. Let's say 1.0. Okay. And connect to that. Double click on that, and let's change that to a 10. Okay. So now we've got 1 to 10, 0 to 10, and then we're going to create another number slider and just hit 10 again, and that gives us the count. Okay, so basically this is the number of values in the series, these are the steps, and this is the start number, and we're going to go over that and show you how that works here. Okay, so essentially copy this whole thing, Control C, Control V, and connect this to the X, and then connect that to the Y, and then move some of these values. Let's see, it's not giving you that. Let's see here. Okay, I see what's going on here. So what we have is we still have all these series points, that's essentially here, there's still just this one single point right here. Okay. Now what's the problem? The problem is that we need to actually cross-reference them. So in order to do that, we're going to go to Sets, List, and we're going to go to Cross-Reference. Okay. And so what that's going to do is, imagine you had two rows. Let's say there's an individual here, another individual here, another individual here, another individual here, and directly across from that row there was an individual here, 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 and here. Instead of just mapping lines across to the individual that's directly across from you, this cross-reference or holistic maps from this individual to here, to here, to here, and to here for everyone. So everyone is essentially mapping across these different points. So we're going to connect that to that, and then this cross-reference is essentially going to give us, let me zoom out here, all these circles, which actually I believe I had it before. So let me undo that just to show you. Let me get rid of this. I think I just didn't zoom out enough. And then connect that to there. Okay, so this is what I originally had before I did the holistic or cross-reference component. What you can see is, you can see that I've got my count that changes like that. I've got my step, which spreads them out about like that, and then I've got my start point, which essentially starts that first blue circle off. Same with the Y, and same with the Y count as well. Now, I didn't just want these values, I wanted each of these values to be cross-referenced to each other to populate an entire grid. So that's why we went over here and we grabbed cross-reference. I'm just going to move this a little bit. And I connected this series to that, and that series to that. And then my final result of the cross-reference is this. It's essentially a grid with these different colors here. Now I'm going to turn off the preview for all these points so I don't have to look at all those points. And then I'm going to turn off the preview. Let's see if that will help me. No. Let's see, where are my points still showing up? Oh, I know what it is. It's my plane. I'm going to turn off that as well there. So now you can see is the points themselves, or I'm sorry, the circles themselves. And then you can see here that I can also change those colors like that. Now, let's see, let me see what's going on. I only have color down here that's really being randomized. I'm wondering if that's because I don't have enough domains here. So let's double click on this. Let's change that to -50. -50. Okay. And then let's change this to 50. Okay. And let's see if that helps us here. So, and yes, it does. It does help us some, not all the way, but that might just be how it's choosing to allocate the colors. So certainly I think you could probably continue to increase this value here to, let's say, negative 100. Okay, okay. Let's see if that, and then change this to 100. And let's see if that solved that problem. There we go. So now we've got this nice, beautiful array of colors that we can modify through this random generator down here. Okay, so far that looks pretty cool. Now we can create this grid, and we can modify the grid of circles as such. Let me check something real quick. Okay, so alright, so from here what we're going to do is we're going to create that sort of component that changes and modifies the environment. How we're going to do that is we are going to bring in a point, and I'm going to go over here to the Rhino interface, and I'm going to click right here on the left where it says single point. I'm just going to bring in a point and place it somewhere, like right there. Now, look, I guess I had 2 points there, so I don't need those. I'll just delete those, but I'll keep this point right there. Okay, so go to parameters, point, and bring in a point just like that. I'm going to allocate this point to this point over here in Rhino, so right click, set one point, and now that point has been passed over to Grasshopper over here. Okay, now from here I'm going to bring in a few things. I'm going to go to point, vector, point, and then distance. I'm going to bring in a distance component, and I'm going to connect this point to point B, and that's going to be my first point between the two distances, and I'm going to bring in all the points from that one. Okay, that essentially gives me the distance between all these points and this single point, all inside. So you can see all those defined values there. So I'm going to actually continue this tutorial on the next part because I am kind of running out of time, and for whatever reason YouTube doesn't like videos that are more than 12 minutes. So this is kind of a good place to pause, and I'm going to pick up on the final tutorial in a minute. So just hold on tight.